I'm Earl Stewart. I welcome you to Earl Stewart on Cars Mystery Shopping Report.
To the mystery shop, and that is from Sunrise Ford.
Sunrise Ford, by the way, is in Fort Pierce, Florida, and that's about 50 miles north of us, and this is up a little bit further on the east coast of Florida. And it's, of course, our very experienced mystery shopper, Agent Lightning, and I'll read this report that's comprised, translated into this format. And I will speak in the first person as if I were Agent Lightning. My family and I found a used 2023 Ford F-250 XLT with 23,000 miles for just $47,323 online. This is a protocol you should follow, by the way. Check the online price first before you venture into a dealership or call or email, for that matter. So we decided to take a ride to check it out. Our son is home from out of town and looking to buy a truck to use for work. Well, we mentioned that, I think, last week. So here we are in a real format-like situation, going through the process, and you can learn from the experience as you listen to this report. We arrived mid-afternoon, walked around the lot until he found the truck we'd seen online. We waited about 10 minutes, and I went inside to find the salesperson. The front desk lady welcomed me and asked, "Is there anything I can help you with today?" I replied, "Yes, please. I'd like your best salesman for a pickup truck." She said, let me think. Then she got up out of her seat, walked over to a salesman at his desk. "Bill, are you busy?" she asked. A man lifted his head and said, "What's up?" And seeing me with her, smiled and asked, "How can I be of assistance today?" I showed him my phone and said, "My son is interested in this truck. Would you be able to get the keys so he can drive it?" He stood up, looked at my phone for the details, and went to get the keys. Bill said he believed it was in the corner of the lot and pointed. I told him, my son and husband are over there, and they're looking at the car now. We walked toward them, and Bill tried unlocking the truck with the remote, but it wasn't working. The battery was dead. Now listen carefully. This is interesting. This is the beginning of some issues. Bill apologized, popped the hood, and went to get a battery charger. While he was gone, we looked at the Carfax report and noticed it had been in a minor accident. When we inspected the front lights, we saw one had been replaced and was sitting slightly lower than the other. And the thought went through my consumer mind, if I'm looking at the headlamps and one's lower than the other, it does tell me that there was an accident. It also tells me the repair was not.
I would not. I'd say let's look at another. At that point, I'm like, let's move on.
Right. So when my husband pointed it out, Bill said, "Well, if this were a poker match, I would have lost the first hand and laughed." That was good, yeah. Got the truck jumped, had my son drive it to the front so we could put a plate on it, a license plate. While driving up, my son noticed the check engine light was on. We've talked about that on the show earlier a lot. Bill asked for his license and went inside to get the plate. Notice we said the check engine light is on. There was no information other than the check engine light was on. All four of us got in the truck, drove a few miles down US 1. Then Bill asked him to make a U-turn and head back to the dealership. Just before we got back, the truck stalled. It wouldn't restart. So 99.9% of the times, the check engine light isn't anything serious. Well, here we go.
Something's going on here.
There's a 1% popped up. Even the hazard lights didn't work. So here we are in the middle of US 1, busy area, with hazard lights on. The car won't run, and hazard lights don't work. Bill quickly popped the hood while my husband, son, and I ran across US 1 and walked back to the dealership. This could be a movie.
This is like a horror movie.
Yeah. We didn't feel safe sitting there with traffic flying by. You probably didn't feel safe about running across US 1 either. And
it's one or the other. Yeah.
We waited for Bill a bit, then left to check out another dealership. They didn't have anything worth looking at, and no one even came out to talk to us. So we headed back to Sunrise Ford. The truck was still in the middle of US 1. I just can't believe this. No police there. That's what I can't understand. Where are the police? It doesn't say a lot for Fort Pierce, does it? Fort Pierce, Florida. With Bill and several other guys trying to figure out what was wrong with it. I wish we had video of this. It would just be, you could get it on national television. I was trying to wait for Bill to ask him for a full write-up and to see if they do complete inspection on the truck. Then maybe we could reassess later that evening if they figured it out. But Bill wasn't coming back, and by then we'd already been there for over 2 hours, and we need to get home. Where I can't just get that out of my mind.
The amount of time spent.
Yeah, I want to give Agent Lightning a polygraph test. Did she really go on a test drive? And the car stopped. They couldn't pull the car over. They were in the middle of US 1 in Fort Pierce
What
2
a
hours.
nightmare.
for 2 hours. Continuing as Agent Lightning, I waited through the weekend and called on Tuesday. No call from the dealership. No call
No
from,
bill.
what's the name of the dealership?
bill.
Yeah, Sunrise Ford.
Sunrise Ford.
Yeah, no bill, no dealership call, nobody. Okay, I was transferred to Bill's voicemail, left a message. I waited until Thursday morning, called again, voicemail again. An hour later, I called back and Jillian answered. I explained what had happened when we test drove the truck. She was very apologetic, asked for our contact information to see if we were in their system. She found my son's name and asked if she could call me back after doing some research to find out what was going on with the truck and whether it was available. I asked if she was a salesperson. She said she was part of the internet sales team. Well, that's kind of like a salesperson. It is a salesperson. Somehow, my call had been routed to the internet department. You're lucky it was routed anywhere. The price was still listed the same online, which was a competitive price. Jillian called me back at 3:15 Thursday afternoon to let me know the truck was still in the service department, but they said they'd rush it for us. She said she found out exactly what was wrong. In the meantime, she would speak with her sales manager and sent me a detailed sheet of the out-the-door cost. I waited until almost 2 p.m. Friday. And called her. Nobody wants to buy a car that bad. She answered and apologized, saying they'd been extremely busy. They weren't busy when I was there, and she hadn't gotten to it yet. She assured me she would get with her sales manager right away and have some numbers for me soon. She also said she'd double-check in the service department, but finally called me back at 2:30 and asked for our information again. Didn't get the information the first 11 times. He told me the only issue was a stone-cold dead battery, which had been fixed.
It took him 6 days to replace the battery.
And I somehow can't believe that they, 2 hours in the middle of US 1, they couldn't figure out they had a dead battery. This is where I'm worried about our credibility on this show, because the shopping report is so incredulous
Incredible.
that I don't believe it myself. So he might want to check in with her first to avoid doubling the work. He said Jillian had handed it back over to him that day, which is why he was calling, but he still needed to confirm our contact info and ask how much we'd want to put down. He said he's going to check with his sales manager, call me back shortly. I waited. Surprise. 3:06 p.m., Bill texted me pictures of the truck and the sales worksheet. The price was listed online as $47,323. That was the same price as before. The top line, labeled market value selling price, was $51,575. They took off $4,252, making the adjusted price $47,323, just like the online price. Unfortunately, they went on to add junk fees, $1,397 in installed packages. Etch, Spiron, question mark. I don't know what that was.
It's probably a protective thing.
Yeah, LoJack, which we've talked about on almost every show, which is a worthless anti-theft protection with today's modern cars. They had a $2080 in junk fees, electronic filing fee, $399.99, dock fee, $999.99. Tag agency fee, well, they made that $49.50, a little variety there.
Yeah, they should jack it up.
License fee.
Yeah, and I just want to say that
Padded.
I think it's padded for sure. Yeah, or,
And dock stamps, which is definitely a junk fee, because you don't charge dock stamps except when you finance a car. $181.65. The real selling price of the truck after all that was $50,800, $3,477 over the advertised price, and it's ended up shameful. And that's
I was
an
ashamed of him.
understatement. Is shameful. It's a shock, and it's hard to shock me, but I'm shocked at the shopping report. Do we have any votes coming in?
But I'm going to fail him.
It's F from me as well.
Join me in the mob.
Anyway, I'm not going to waste any more time. They get an F.
I'm going to go an F too, and this is going to be the worst grade we ever gave any
Yeah.
car dealer. This is a combination. Usually we're talking about how much deception, lying, cheating, and stealing did we see in the report, but here we're talking about a combination of deception and incompetence. So
That's where I was going.
where this isn't to measure the incompetence of a dealer, it's to measure the malintent of the dealer, accidental incompetence. Hi, this is Earl Stewart. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to be notified of new videos that we post to our YouTube channel, simply click on the subscribe button and the bell icon in the lower right-hand side of the screen.